Before the wedding, Emma's fiancé, Noah, had a first love named Clara who was forced into a strategic marriage with a notorious heiress, Vivian, known for being a heartbreaker. Unable to bear seeing her beloved suffer, Clara crashed Noah's wedding. That very day, they got married under the watchful eyes of everyone. The entire city waited to laugh at Emma and the Bennett family. Unexpectedly, the next day, the sole heiress of the Bennett Corporation, Vivian, brazenly parked her Bugatti at Emma's company entrance. Your fiancé snatched my marriage partner. I need you to pay her debt by marrying me instead. That seems reasonable, doesn't it? Looking at Vivian's flamboyant curly hair, Emma smiled and adjusted her glasses. Yes, quite reasonable. Vivian raised an eyebrow, surprised by how readily Emma agreed to her marriage proposal. A small stud near the corner of her brow glinted with the movement. But for people like them, perhaps marriage was just another weight on the scales of benefit, regardless of who it was with. So after a fleeting moment of surprise, she reverted to her usual devil-may-care demeanor. All right, I'll come find you tomorrow to discuss the wedding details. Got to go deal with those old geezers back home today. So annoying, she muttered, tousling her already messy curls. Emma found it amusing and gently tucked a stray lock back from her forehead. No rush, just contact me whenever you're free. Vivian seemed pleased with Emma's understanding nature, exchanged a few more words, and then sped off. Emma headed home as usual, only to find a rather off-putting figure waiting in front of her villa. Miss Crawford, what a pleasant surprise, Emma said. Instead of strolling down the main avenues, you've wandered into my private estate. Scarlett Crawford looked awkward and offered a forced laugh. Emma, don't be so sarcastic. I had no choice about what happened that day. You know Noah's personality. He suffers in silence. If he really married that Bennett playgirl, who knows how many times he'd be cheated on. I just couldn't watch him walk into that disaster. Emma's expression remained impassive. Scarlett couldn't bear to see Noah walk into a disaster, yet she was content to let Emma, her fiancé, become the laughingstock of their entire social circle. What kind of logic was that? Emma didn't want to waste words and moved to walk past her. Unexpectedly, Scarlett reached out to take her arm, but Emma swiftly dodged. If you have something to say, say it. Don't get physical. Emma, what do you mean by this? Are you trying to cut ties with me? Even though I married Noah, I never said we had to stop seeing each other. It's just a marriage certificate. It doesn't mean anything. We can still be together. I just can't give you the official title, so you'll have to compromise a bit. But I believe, given your feelings for me over so many years, you won't mind, right? Scarlett's eyes shone with anticipation. Emma's brow furrowed tightly. She couldn't fathom how such a shameless idea could even enter this woman's head, to blatantly suggest she become her lover. Her anger turned into laughter. Scarlett Crawford, you overestimate your importance. There's no possibility of reconciliation between us. From now on, we go our separate ways. Let's not stand in each other's paths. Emma spoke seriously, but Scarlett seemed to think she was just throwing a tantrum. She tugged at Emma's sleeve playfully. All right, don't be so serious. I know you're angry because I married someone else. I promise you, I'll handle the relationship between you two fairly in the future without favoring either one. You and Noah are both the people I love most. Even though he's my legal husband, I won't let him overshadow you. Okay, it was like talking to a brick wall. Emma truly couldn't understand why her parents had chosen Scarlett as her fiancée back then. However, her upbringing didn't permit her to lose her temper with someone like her. Checking her watch, she decided to seize this opportunity to make everything clear. Scarlett Crawford, let me be blunt. I have no romantic feelings for you. We just happened to grow up together, and our parents happened to push us together. All these years, I've merely fulfilled the obligations expected of a marriage alliance partner. I wouldn't say I like you. As for who you truly love or want to marry, that has nothing to do with me. So you don't need to come tell me these things, and I will not agree to your suggestion. Is that clear enough? If there's nothing else, please leave. Emma clearly saw the emotion shifting in Scarlett's eyes as she heard the words, progressing from initial disbelief to outright fury. Her face flushed red. Emma Clark, are you done yet? Do you have to deliberately lie like this just to spite me? I came to you personally. I apologized. What more do you want? Don't I have any pride? Even Noah could compromise and agree to this arrangement. What right do you have to refuse me? Being willing to let you be my lover is already giving you too much credit. Go ask around the city. Which established family would care to associate with an upstart, nouveau riche family like yours? Only I wasn't bothered by it. You won't even take the olive branch I'm offering. You'll regret this." With that, she stormed off to her car and drove away in a huff. Watching the exhaust fumes trail behind Scarlett's departing car, Emma had mixed feelings. To say there were no feelings wasn't entirely true. There was the bond of growing up together, after all. However, any lingering sentiment had long since eroded away during the numerous times Scarlett chose Noah over her, leaving her disregarded. Vivian didn't forget their agreement. Early the next morning, she arranged to meet Emma at an exclusive private restaurant. When Emma saw her again, she almost didn't recognize her. Vivian had straightened her hair, removed the dramatic eyeliner and eyeshadow, and wore a simple white dress. Emma instinctively glanced at her eyebrow where the stud had been. As if sensing the question, Vivian explained proactively, "It was just glued on for fun." "What? You don't recognize me?" Emma smiled. "You do look quite different." Everything proceeded smoothly. They settled on the highest spec hotel and the grandest scale for the wedding banquet. As for the decorations and attire, it was all left to Vivian's preferences, with Emma covering the costs. Vivian tilted her head, looking at Emma while munching on a small pastry, resembling a little hamster. "All according to my taste? This is your wedding too. Aren't you looking forward to it at all?" Emma gave a non-committal response. "Don't they say, listen to your wife and you'll get rich? I'm starting early, hoping the wealth lasts longer." Vivian chuckled at the remark. It was then Emma noticed how bright her eyes were and the two small dimples that appeared on her cheeks when she smiled. She didn't seem like the wild party girl rumored in social circles at all. After finalizing all the arrangements, Vivian had family matters to attend to and left first. Once Emma tidied up, she prepared to head back to the office, only to run into Scarlett and Noah right outside the private dining room, apparently having just finished their meal. Both froze when they saw Emma. Scarlett was the first to react. "Emma, what are you doing here?" She looked at Emma, then at the empty private room behind her, a look of realization dawning. "Oh, you followed us here, didn't you? Otherwise, why would someone like you, who usually just grabs a quick bite, come to a place like this? I told you what you said the other day was a lie, but you insisted on being stubborn. What? Does seeing me and Noah together make you uncomfortable?" She wore a smug expression, and Noah beside her chimed in pretentiously, "Forget it, Lin, don't say any more. Emma must already be upset about not being able to marry you. It's all my fault, really." As Noah spoke, the car keys hanging from his wrists swung back and forth, intentionally or not, right in front of Emma's eyes. It was a limited edition supercar released that year. The Miller family's financial situation couldn't possibly afford it, so it must have been a gift from Scarlett. Even he himself had been repackaged, decked out head to toe in luxury brands. It seemed Scarlett had really spared no expense on him. Emma suddenly recalled that when she was with Scarlett, she hadn't received even a tie, let alone a sports car. Not only that, but she frequently had to transfer money to Scarlett for her expenses and entertainment. Scarlett often complained about being short on cash, and Emma had felt that since they were together, it wasn't worth fussing over who contributed more. Looking back now, it seems Scarlett had considered her a gullible fool long before. No one knew Emma had noticed the keys in his hand. When he looked at her again, his eyes held blatant smugness and ostentation. Before Emma could speak, however, Scarlett jumped in protectively. "Why are you apologizing to her? She's the one who can't let go of me now. She should be begging us." She crossed her arms, tilting her chin up at Emma with a look of utter confidence. "Let me tell you, Emma, if you've changed your mind and want to get back together, it's not impossible. But my terms aren't the same as yesterday. You said so many nasty things to me last night. It's only fair you compensate me for emotional distress. $1 million a month in pocket money for me and Noah each. That's not too much, right? Also, new clothes and bags from every season must be sent to me first for selection. You absolutely cannot disturb me when I'm with Noah, and the wedding ceremony will only be held with Noah. If you can't even manage these basic things, then forget about reconciliation." She rattled off the list of rules like emptying a bamboo tube of beans. All the jokes Emma had heard in her 25 years combined weren't as absurd as what Scarlett was saying. Hilariously, she still seemed to think that being with Emma was a great favor she was bestowing. Emma's gaze swept over the two of them, and she spoke calmly. Does the Clark Corporation need to organize a charity fundraiser for you too? I recently met a renowned neurosurgeon from overseas. I could make an introduction. Scarlett stared blankly for a moment. Then her face instantly flushed red as she understood. What do you mean by that? Emma shrugged. Nothing much, literal meaning. I'm saying you two are nuts. Scarlett's frantic screams faded behind Emma, who didn't look back. She drove straight back to the company. Emotions were precious, and she disliked wasting energy on anyone or anything unworthy. Emma's wedding with Vivian was set for the 10th of the next month. Since they were both busy, they simply agreed that Emma would go pick her up directly on the wedding day. Looking at the checklist sent by the wedding planner on her screen, she felt a momentary sense of surrealness. Not long ago, due to her fiancé's elopement, she thought marriage was likely off the table for her in the near future. Yet, in the blink of an eye, she was actually getting married. Her mother, Eleanor, worried that she was emotionally scarred and had hastily found someone just to go through the motions, called to earnestly try and persuade her otherwise. Emma stubbed out her cigarette. For some reason, the bright image of Vivian blocking her way at the company entrance and the small dimples at the corners of her lips when she smiled flashed through her mind. Don't worry, Mom. Vivian is great. Besides, marriage isn't it the same with anyone? You can't just look at superficial emotions. You have to consider the underlying benefits. That's what you and Dad taught me. Her mother was speechless, sighed deeply, and hung up. Emma looked up at the sparsely scattered stars in the sky, wondering when exactly she had become this way. Like her world only consisted of the words benefit and meaning, cold and orderly, rational yet hypocritical, like a high-precision instrument programmed for everything. Over the next few days, Emma was swamped with work at the office. When she finally looked up from a pile of documents, her secretary knocked cautiously on the door. Miss Clark, there's a lady here to see you. She says she's delivering. Before the secretary could finish, a loud voice preempted her, reaching Emma's ears urgently. Emma, I'm here to give you an invitation. Looking up, sure enough, it was Scarlett again. She smugly pulled out a gold-embossed invitation and placed it on Emma's desk, her tone arrogant. Noah and I are holding our wedding. You're welcome to attend. Time is running out for you. After our wedding, my whole heart will be devoted to him. If you come begging for my forgiveness, then it'll be too late. Emma couldn't believe that Scarlett, the one who broke off their engagement and attempted a three-way relationship, now expected her to beg for forgiveness. She chuckled, opened the invitation, raised an eyebrow at the printed date, and casually tossed it into the nearby trash bin. Well, thank you for thinking so highly of me, but I'm not fortunate enough to deserve such a fine marriage. You should save it for Mr. Miller. Seeing her meticulously prepared invitation ruthlessly discarded, Scarlett's face flushed red and white with anger. She pointed at Emma, her fingertips trembling. You utterly shameless. You've wasted this final chance. She was incoherent, but Emma was busy dealing with work matters and the guest list Vivian had sent her, truly having no time for Scarlett. She rubbed her temples, her voice weary. Scarlett Crawford, I've told you many times. I have no lingering feelings for you. If you acted normally, our families could maintain their business relationship. But if you continue to approach me with these ridiculous ideas, then I can only say that the cooperation between our families ends here. Scarlett was a flower sheltered in a greenhouse since childhood, completely clueless and uninterested in industry developments. Her information was so outdated. She likely still thought Emma's family was just some unsophisticated nouveau riche clan, failing to consider that several generations had passed. Hearing Emma's words, Scarlett looked even more humiliated and felt compelled to regain some ground. You think I'm afraid of you? Fine, terminated. The Crawford family is large and established. Do you think we need your poultry business? If you have the guts, cut off our entire funding chain. Seeing her determined expression, Emma nodded, her fingers tapping away as she sent an email through the company's internal network. All right, as you wish. Scarlett was eventually summoned away by a phone call from her family. Emma didn't know what was said, but she left in a hurry, shooting Emma a venomous glare before departing. Emma Clark, just you wait. Wait. Who would wait for her? Fortunately, she and Noah didn't cause any more trouble for a long time afterward. Peacefully, the wedding day finally arrived. To avoid traffic jams, Emma had arranged for the motorcade early on. But the world is often small. On the way to pick up the bride, she actually encountered Scarlett and Noah. Scarlett's eyes lit up when she saw Emma, but then, seeing her dressed as a groom followed by a long convoy of cars, her face instantly darkened. Emma Clark, what is the meaning of this? Are you trying to usurp Noah's position? I told you we can continue seeing each other, but the wedding ceremony is only for Noah. What's with your outfit? Are you deliberately trying to upset Noah? Emma glanced over without saying anything. It was her driver who cheerfully handed over 2 wedding favors. Today is also our young master's wedding day. Please share in the joy. Scarlett was stunned. Her getting married? Then she scoffed. How is that possible? Who else would she possibly want to marry besides me? I bet she just wants to crash my wedding, but is too embarrassed to say it. The driver fell silent, likely understanding why Emma chose to remain quiet throughout. At this moment, Scarlett hefted the gifts in her hands, feeling their significant weight. She immediately tore one open, pulling out a solid gold bar and a Patek Philippe watch. Her eyes turned green with envy. You're giving things like this away as wedding favors. Her shock and envy seemed genuine. Noah, standing beside her, looked uncomfortable and quickly put his arm around her shoulder. It's all right, Lin. When I make big money, we'll have this kind of extravagance too, even more generous than her. Scarlett forced a smile at his words and carefully put the items back in the bag. Okay, I'll wait for the day you make big money. Just then, the driver nodded to Emma. Young master, Miss Windsor is almost ready. Emma gestured for him to proceed, but unexpectedly, Scarlett's motorcade started following theirs. It seemed she was convinced this was all just a charade orchestrated by Emma. If that's the case, let them follow. As the cars majestically rolled into the Windsor estate, Emma clearly sensed some hesitation in Scarlett's following motorcade. She paid them no mind, merely adjusting her attire one last time before stepping out of the car. A red carpet dozens of meters long stretched from her feet up to the steps. As she walked forward, she could hear Scarlett and Noah whispering behind her. Isn't this the Windsor place? Is she marrying Vivian Windsor? No way, impossible. Why would the Windsors approve of her? Besides, Vivian's reputation is terrible. She would never marry her. But the moment the main doors opened, everyone fell silent. Vivian, wearing a handcrafted white bridal gown, walked towards Emma, several attendants helping with her train. She was stunningly beautiful. She smiled at Emma, who naturally extended her arm for her to take. The movement was smooth and effortless, startling Scarlett, who rushed towards Emma frantically. You're really getting married to Vivian Windsor? Emma feigned ignorance. Isn't it obvious? I've let you see what you wanted to know, Miss Crawford. Can you please step aside now? We need to get to the venue. The wedding scandal. Perhaps Scarlett had truly never imagined that Emma, her previously devoted fiancée, would one day leave her completely. Her eyes reddened, and right there in front of Vivian, she tried to grab Emma's hand, only for Emma to dodge again. Could you please stop trying to grab people? Even Noah looked uncomfortable. He stepped forward to pull Scarlett back, but she violently shrugged him off. Stay out of this, Emma. How could you marry someone else? I'm the one who grew up with you. The one with 20 years of history. I'm the one who was engaged to you. So she did remember those things. Given how readily she'd married Noah, Emma thought she'd forgotten all about it. Frowning, Emma worried Scarlett's erratic behavior might harm Vivian and instinctively shielded her behind her. Unexpectedly, this action wounded Scarlett further. I know you're angry. You want revenge. But you can't just marry anyone. You know Vivian's reputation. She changes men more often than clothes. Marrying her will ruin you. Watch your mouth. Emma finally lost patience, glancing worriedly at Vivian's expression. Vivian's wonderful in every way. What happens between us is none of your business. I've said it many times, and this is the last time. There's nothing between us anymore. Stop bothering me and my wife. As the word wife left her lips, Scarlett visibly swayed. Her eyes were red, and she looked like she wanted to say more, but Emma had already helped Vivian into the car, disappearing from her sight. Scarlett's conspicuous wedding car followed them all the way to the venue. Through the window, Emma saw Scarlett's distorted face and felt annoyance. Vivian, however, was calm. She squeezed Emma's hand. What? Feeling sorry for her. Sorry, Emma scoffed. I'm worried she'll cause a scene and delay the ceremony. Vivian raised an eyebrow and leaned close to Emma's ear. Then don't try to stop me later. Before Emma could process her meaning, the car door opened, and Scarlett rushed over, reaching for Emma's arm. Vivian slapped her hand away. "Excuse me, Mississippi." Vivian beamed, but her voice was ice cold. Touching another woman's husband comes with consequences. The word husband made Scarlett's face turn pale. "Who do you think you are? Emma and I have 20 years of history. Who are you to interfere?" Before Emma could speak, Vivian stepped in front of her. 20 years, and it didn't work out. Seems like fate has good judgment. Scarlett raised her hand to strike, but Vivian caught her wrist. Slap. A resounding slap silenced the crowd. Scarlett clutched her face, eyes wide with disbelief. "How dare you? Why wouldn't I dare?" Vivian flicked her hand. "This slap is to teach you basic decency. A married woman harassing her ex-fiancé. Your Crawford family's upbringing is truly something to behold." Emma watched Vivian's swift, clean actions with interest. Previously, she'd only thought Vivian had contrasting sides. Now, she found the bold, passionate streak in her core excellent, something she'd always admired but couldn't attain. As Emma marveled, Scarlett turned to her, tears welling. "Emma, are you just going to stand there and watch her hit me?" Emma nodded, partiality evident. "Yes, my wife just happens to have a lively, cheerful personality who enjoys roughhousing. Isn't she adorable?" She turned to Vivian. "Did you hurt your hand?" Vivian feigned injury, holding out her palm. "A little." Emma bent down and kissed her slightly red palm. "Let me handle rough work next time." Scarlett looked like she'd swallowed a fly. You too," she screamed hysterically. "Emma Clark, you will regret this." Noah finally intervened, hesitantly pulling her away. Lin, we should get to the hotel." "Go where?" Scarlett shoved him off. "Look at their extravagant wedding. Now look at your pathetic setup. Arranging the wedding cars was the only thing I asked you to handle, and you messed it up." Noah's face flushed. Only then did Emma notice their few standard brand wedding cars, shabby compared to her fleet. Vivian suddenly exclaimed, "Ah, it's your wedding day too. What a coincidence." She waved to a steward. "Go to the cellar and get 2 bottles of champagne for them. Consider it my wedding gift." This was like rubbing salt in Scarlett's wound. Trembling with rage, she grabbed Noah. "Let's go. Let this despicable pair enjoy themselves." Watching their disarrayed retreat, Emma exhaled. Vivian poked her cheek. "Feel better?" Emma caught her hand and kissed it. "Much better." The master of ceremonies reminded them it was time to enter. Vivian linked arms with Emma and whispered, "Actually, I'm a little nervous." Emma was taken aback. This woman, who'd boldly cornered her at the office, now had sweaty palms. "Nervous about what?" "Afraid I'll run off." She glared. "Afraid you'll think I'm fierce and lack manners." Emma laughed and kissed her in front of everyone. "Why follow so many rules? You're wonderful, very cute." The wedding proceeded smoothly. During the ring exchange, Emma noticed figures peering from the entrance. Scarlett's guests come to watch the spectacle. Vivian winked. "Looks like someone's reception will be empty." Emma shrugged. "What's it got to do with me?" At the evening banquet, her secretary informed her that fewer than 10 tables were occupied at Scarlett's reception, mostly Noah's relatives. The celebrities and bands Scarlett had hired had all come to perform at their wedding, saying they didn't want to miss the city's grandest event. Vivian laughed, collapsing into Emma's arms. "Serves her right for stealing my marriage partner." Emma pinched her cheek. "Shouldn't you be thanking her? If she hadn't self-destructed, how would I have ended up with such a beautiful wife?" Vivian grew quiet, eyes sparkling. "Emma, did you really want to marry me?" The question made Emma's heart tremble. After careful reflection, she reached a conclusion. "Yes, I wanted to marry you." Initially, she'd had no expectations, believing marriage was the same with anyone. Agreeing to Vivian's proposal was about family alliance. But every meeting revealed Vivian was different, flamboyant, unrestrained, and dissatisfied with convention. Emma lowered her head to kiss her, murmuring, "I wanted to marry you sincerely." Spending days together, Emma realized Vivian was nothing like the rumors. Society called her uneducated and empty-headed, but she had a sharp perspective, even analyzing economic trends cogently. At the table, Vivian noticed Emma's gaze. "You want to ask why my reputation is so terrible when I'm not that bad, right?" The truth behind the rumors. After a moment's thought, Emma nodded. "I was a bit curious, yes. But you spread those rumors yourself, didn't you? What I'm curious about is why." "Oh, you're quite sharp. Not like those idiots I've met before." Vivian threw up her hands. You know the Windsor fortune isn't small. It's hard for me to tell who's genuine and who's fake. So you made yourself seem incompetent to secretly observe who was stabbing you in the back." Vivian responded with an aha, acknowledging the deduction. "Then what about the rumors that you change men like clothes?" Vivian sputtered out the coffee she was drinking, waving her hands dismissively. "I certainly didn't spread that one. It's just that most of my information network operates in places like nightclubs and high-end KTVs. Occasionally, people would run into me there, and the rumors naturally spread. I couldn't be bothered to explain, and it actually helped solidify my persona, so I let them talk." For some reason, Emma felt a pang of sympathy. Vivian was 2 years younger, yet these rumors had persisted for years, meaning she'd faced intense scrutiny and turmoil alone from a much younger age. Emma couldn't imagine how much slander she'd endured or how many hardships she'd suffered to get where she was. After dropping Vivian at her company the next morning, Emma headed to her office. Just after finishing a meeting, she stepped out of the conference room to see Scarlett Crawford standing at the hallway's end. Her eyes were red and swollen, makeup smudged, and she looked so haggard she was almost unrecognizable. Upon seeing Emma, she stumbled forward. "Emma." Emma sidestepped her lunge, frowning. "Is there something you need?" "I was wrong. I truly know I was wrong." Her voice trembled, tears streaming. "Can you please spare the Crawford family? My father was so angry he ended up in the hospital. The company is in chaos. All our partners pulled their investments." Emma adjusted her cuffs, tone calm. "Business is like a battlefield. Isn't this normal? But this is all because of that email you sent." She grew agitated, gripping Emma's sleeve. "Emma, we've known each other for 20 years. Can you be so heartless?" Emma pried her fingers off one by one. "Scarlett Crawford, who was it that said, 'If you have the guts, cut off our entire funding chain'? I also recall saying that from now on, we go our separate ways." Scarlett's face turned deathly pale, lips trembling. Finally, she knelt with a thud. "I'm begging you. I was ignorant before. I promise I'll treat you well from now on. Do you remember when I had a fever as a child? You carried me to the hospital and said you'd always protect me." Emma's steps faltered. Taking this as a chance, Scarlett crawled forward and hugged her legs. "Yes, you remember, don't you? We have so many memories. How can you just throw them away?" Looking down at Scarlett's pathetic state, Emma suddenly found it laughable. She crouched to meet her gaze. "Scarlett Crawford, do you remember your birthday last year? I also had a fever, 39 degrees Celsius, 102 degrees Fahrenheit. I didn't want to disappoint you, so I stayed up all night preparing a surprise. But you canceled our plans with a single sentence. Later, I found out you want to be with Noah. There are many, many incidents like this. Do you need me to recount them one by one?" Color drained from Scarlett's face, bit by bit. Emma stood, brushing imaginary dust from her trousers. "I think it's time you understood. Many things I chose not to argue about, but that doesn't mean I didn't know. Don't talk to me about memories now. You don't deserve to." As the elevator doors opened, Emma heard Scarlett's heart-wrenching scream. "Emma Clark, you'll get what's coming to you." Emma smiled and stepped into the elevator. Retribution? My life couldn't be better right now. That evening, when Emma got home, Vivian was curled up on the sofa eating ice cream. Seeing her return, Vivian ran over barefoot and hugged her tightly. "Heard there was some drama at the office today." Emma gently pinched her nose. "Are you so well informed?" "Of course." She waved her phone proudly. "The whole company is talking about how CEO Clark's ex-fiancée knelt and begged for reconciliation, only to be ruthlessly rejected." Emma carried her to the sofa. "Jealous?" Vivian rolled her eyes, popping a spoonful of ice cream into Emma's mouth. "Am I that type of person?" The ice cream was cloyingly sweet. Emma leaned down and kissed the corner of Vivian's mouth, still dotted with cream. "It's okay if you are. You're lovable no matter what." With Emma's past settled, it was time to conclude the Windsor family situation. Due to their marriage, many lurking figures grew restless, wanting to strike before Vivian fully consolidated her position. In the office, Vivian tossed a stack of documents in front of Emma, tapping the audit report on top. Third Uncle Walter embezzled $20 million from the subsidiary last month. He really thinks he can treat me like a figurehead. Emma opened the file, which detailed fund flows and even included photos of Walter Windsor with his mistress at a hotel. "What's the plan?" Vivian stood, her black suit dress outlining sharp, imposing lines. Tomorrow's board meeting. I want them to cough up every cent they swallowed. The next day, in the top-floor conference room of Windsor Corporation, Walter Windsor slammed the table. Vivian Windsor, on what grounds did you freeze my authority? I'm your elder. Vivian sat at the head of the table, calmly twirling a pen. Uncle Walter, on March 16, 2019, how much did you lose at the casinos in Macau? The room fell deathly silent. Vivian pressed a remote, and bank statements appeared on the screen. $23 million taken from the Windsor Education Fund. Gasps and murmurs rippled through the room. Only second Uncle Stanley interjected. Vivian, dear, what are you doing? Don't air our dirty laundry in public. Vivian shot him a cold smile. Uncle Stanley, your own house is on fire, and you still have time to worry about others? Do you want me to publicly reveal how you transferred that South District land to your mistress at a low price last year? Emma timely handed over another file, which Vivian tossed onto the table. Here are details of company funds borrowed by all of you over the years. I'll give you two choices. 1. Repay the principal plus interest within 3 days. 2. I'll have Captain Davies from the Economic Crime Investigation Unit invite you all for tea. Walter's face turned livid. You're trying to drive us to our deaths. Vivian laughed, a smile that sent chills. Uncle Walter, your grandson's expenses studying in the UK aren't cheap, are they? What if evidence of his mother embezzling public funds were sent to his school? Walter leaped to his feet, nearly knocking over his chair. You dare threaten me? His words trailed off as Vivian watched quietly, smiling. Previously, attendees had underestimated Vivian, treating her like a manipulable novice. But faced with concrete evidence, no one dared gamble on her limits. Walter was the first to back down. I'll pay it back tomorrow. 10 minutes later, only Emma and Vivian remained. Vivian loosened her collar, revealing exhaustion. Emma massaged her temples. Well done. Leaning against her, Vivian mumbled. Emma, was I too harsh? Business is war. Emma kissed her head. Mercy to the enemy is cruelty to yourself. Vivian suddenly turned and wrapped her arms around Emma's waist. Thank goodness you were here to back me up. 3 days later, every dollar was returned. At the board meeting, Vivian announced the establishment of a supervisory committee with Emma in charge. Her gaze scanned the room like a knife. From now on, if anyone dares to reach out their hand, I'll chop off their claws. That night, after the celebration dinner, Vivian was tipsy, murmuring against Emma's chest. Husband, am I amazing? Emma picked her up. Chairwoman Windsor is truly awe-inspiring. Vivian nuzzled her neck. Actually, I'm so tired. My dad passed away so many years ago. It's been ages since I've acted cute with anyone, let alone felt this secure in someone's arms. They all scheme against me, waiting to ruin my reputation, find fault, and kick me out of the Windsors to swallow what my dad left. At my most anxious, I wouldn't even accept a banana from the staff, afraid they'd poison me. I had to make myself seem useless so they'd lower their guard, thinking I wasn't a threat. Emma's heart softened. She placed Vivian on the bed and wiped her tears. You've worked so hard. From now on, I'll be by your side. I can't shield you from everything, but I'll be your solid support. Whatever you want to do, I'll face it with you. Vivian smiled hazily, tugging Emma's tie and removing her glasses. You'll do anything with me? Then I want to have a baby with you. One as smart as both of us. Emma chuckled and kissed her, swallowing her murmurs. Outside, stars shone brightly, but the warmth in her arms was more captivating than any power or status. She thought, it's time to retract my earlier statement. How could life possibly be the same, no matter who you spend it with?